Are you trusting God for the fruit of the womb? Are you feeling that your chi has forsaken you? Does it seem like your prayers have gone unanswered, and the weight of waiting presses heavily on your heart? Take courage, dear one. The journey may be long, and the road may be filled with tears, but know this: God gives children. Your chi has not forgotten you, and your story is not over. Just as the morning sun rises after the darkest night, your time will come. Chinenyenwa's story is proof that faith, patience, and perseverance can bring forth miracles. Though she faced struggles, doubts, and the piercing whispers of society, she never let go of the promise carried in her name. And in the appointed time, her chi remembered her, and she became a mother. Her journey was not easy, but in the end, it revealed a truth that cannot be denied: God gives children, and He will hear your cry. Let her story be your encouragement, your beacon of hope, as you wait for the day your own miracle unfolds. Chinenyenwa was named by her parents with deep spiritual conviction. Her name, meaning God gives children, was a proclamation of faith, a name that resonated hope and divine providence. Yet, life had been a battlefield for her. Stricken by health challenges since childhood, her body bore the marks of relentless struggles. Her condition had forced her into consuming countless herbal concoctions and medications, sometimes prescribed, other times mysteriously appearing in her dreams. While her peers danced in youthful exuberance, Chinenyenwa fought in silence, her fears whispering that her womb might never nurture life. Her fears grew as she entered her 20s. Each cycle brought anxiety, and every failed attempt at normal health felt like a judgment. Family and friends often reminded her of the power in her name, but the irony stung. Though Chinenyenwa tried to hold on to faith, doubt hovered like a dark cloud. Could her parents' faith in naming her ever become reality? Would the broken vessel of her body ever hold the promise it carried? Despite her struggles, love found Chinenyenwa. Nana, the man of her youth, had always admired her resilience. They grew up in the same village, and their paths intertwined as they matured. Nana, patient and unwavering, looked beyond her fears and scars. He saw a woman whose strength surpassed her frailty and whose spirit burned brightly even in adversity. Their marriage was a quiet celebration of love and hope. Yet, even on her wedding day, Chinenyenwa's heart was heavy. Amidst the laughter and blessings, she pondered her future as a wife. What if she failed to bear children? What if her body betrayed the dreams of motherhood? These thoughts haunted her, even as she stood beside Nana, who vowed to love her through every storm. After the wedding festivities faded, Chinenyenwa's anxiety grew stronger. Her home with Nana was filled with love, but her heart was restless. Every whispered comment from the villagers, every subtle glance at her abdomen, felt like a dagger. She began to dread visits from relatives, fearing they might ask the inevitable question, "Any news yet?" Unable to suppress her fears, Chinenyenwa turned to fervent prayers. She believed deeply in the power of her chi, the divine spirit that guided her life. Night after night, she lit a candle and knelt in supplication, speaking words of faith and desperation. Her prayers were raw, filled with tears and longing. She called out to the heavens, reminding her chi of her name, Chinenyenwa. If God truly gave children, she reasoned, why was she still barren? Chinenyenwa's prayers soon turned into action. She sought wisdom from elders and spiritual leaders in her community. They advised her to maintain purity in her heart and actions, for purity was a vessel through which blessings flowed. She took this counsel to heart, vowing to live righteously and avoid any act that could defile her spirit. Nana supported her unwaveringly, joining her in fasting and prayers. Together, they offered sacrifices of yams, kola nuts, and even a white hen to their chi as a symbol of their faith. Chinenyenwa also visited the village stream, known for its mystical waters, to cleanse herself spiritually. With every sacrifice and ritual, she whispered her name repeatedly, as if to remind the universe of its promise. Yet, as the months turned into a year, there was still no sign of pregnancy. Though her faith wavered, Chinenyenwa refused to give up. She clung to the belief that her chi was working in ways she could not yet see. One quiet evening, as Chinenyenwa sat by the fire preparing the evening meal, an elderly woman from the village visited her. Mama Chioma, known for her wisdom and calming presence, held Chinenyenwa's hands and smiled. "My child," she said softly, "you carry the name of a promise. Do you think the chi who guided your parents to name you Chinenyenwa will fail you?" Mama Chioma encouraged her to keep her heart pure and her faith unshaken. She spoke of another young woman in the village who had faced a similar challenge but eventually conceived after years of waiting. The elder's words planted a tiny seed of hope in Chinenyenwa's heart. For the first time in months, she slept without tears staining her pillow, comforted by the thought that her story was not yet over. As hope began to sprout in Chinenyenwa's heart, challenges arose to test her faith. Rumors began circulating in the village, with some whispering that her condition might be a punishment for hidden sins. Others speculated that her earlier consumption of questionable herbs and concoctions had damaged her irreparably. The weight of their words pressed heavily on her, but Chinenyenwa refused to let their gossip dim her resolve. Nana, ever her pillar of strength, shielded her from the villagers' cruel remarks. "Ignore them," he would say, wrapping his arms around her. "They do not know the plans our chi has for us." Chinenyenwa found solace in his unwavering support, but she also knew she had to strengthen her spirit. She intensified her prayers, often waking in the middle of the night to plead her case before the heavens. One fateful night, Chinenyenwa had a vivid dream. She found herself in a lush, vibrant forest, where a radiant figure appeared before her. The figure, cloaked in light, spoke with a voice that resonated like a song. "Chinenyenwa," it said, "you have been named for a purpose. Your womb is not barren, it is waiting for the appointed time. Keep your faith and do not waver." When Chinenyenwa woke, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace. She shared her dream with Nana, who encouraged her to hold on to its message. "Dreams are the language of the chi," he said. "Your time will come." From that day, Chinenyenwa's prayers became declarations of faith. Instead of pleading, she began thanking her chi for the children she believed were already on their way. Months turned into another year, and though Chinenyenwa's dream had renewed her hope, the waiting tested her patience. She poured herself into serving her community, teaching young girls the art of cooking and storytelling. Nana continued to shower her with love and reassurances, but Chinenyenwa occasionally found herself questioning the dream's promise. During one particularly difficult evening, she confided in Mama Chioma. The elder smiled and told her, "The strongest blessings are often delayed, my child. A farmer does not rush his harvest, he waits until the crop is ripe." Mama Chioma's words soothed her soul, and Chinenyenwa resolved to wait with grace, trusting that her chi was preparing something extraordinary. One early morning, as Chinenyenwa performed her daily prayers, she noticed an unusual sense of calm wash over her. She couldn't explain it, but there was a stirring in her spirit. Her health, which had often been fragile, began to improve noticeably. The constant fatigue that once plagued her seemed to lift, and she felt a renewed energy coursing through her. Even Nana noticed the change. "You look radiant, my love," he said one evening as they sat outside, watching the sunset. "It's as though the chi is already blessing you." Chinenyenwa smiled but said nothing, quietly praying that this newfound vitality was a sign of things to come. Though she didn't yet know what was happening, she clung to the hope that her time was drawing near. At Nana's urging, Chinenyenwa visited Nidi, a respected traditional healer in the neighboring village. Known for her deep knowledge of herbs and spiritual insight, Nidi had helped many women overcome their struggles with fertility. After listening to Chinenyenwa's story, the healer examined her carefully and nodded knowingly. "Your body is strong, and your chi is aligned," Nidi said. "Your time is close, but there is one thing left for you to do: surrender completely. Do not doubt, even for a moment, that the promise of your name will be fulfilled. Offer your worries to the chi and focus only on gratitude. She prepared a special herbal mixture for Chinenyenwa, instructing her to take it faithfully while continuing her prayers. Chinenyenwa left the healer's home feeling both hopeful and challenged. Surrendering her fears would not be easy, but she resolved to trust fully in the divine timing of her blessing. A month later, Chinenyenwa began to notice subtle changes in her body. She dismissed them at first, attributing them to her improved health. But as the days went on, the signs became undeniable. Her appetite shifted, her energy fluctuated, and a strange heaviness settled in her abdomen. Could it be? Tentatively, she confided in Nena, who immediately suggested they seek confirmation. They visited the local midwife, who examined Chinenyenwa carefully and finally broke into a wide smile. "Congratulations," she said. "You are with child." The words felt surreal to Chinenyenwa. Tears streamed down her face as she clung to Nana, who laughed and cried with her. The promise of her name was finally becoming reality. All the nights of prayer, the sacrifices, and the waiting had not been in vain. Truly, God gives children. The news of Chinenyenwa's pregnancy spread like wildfire throughout the village. The once doubting whispers turned into joyous congratulations, and many came to visit her with gifts and blessings. Her parents, who had longed for this moment, could hardly contain their excitement. They gathered the elders for a special ceremony, thanking the chi for answering their prayers and honoring their daughter's unwavering faith. Chinenyenwa felt both humbled and overwhelmed. As the days passed, her joy grew, but so did her sense of responsibility. She knew this pregnancy was more than just the fulfillment of her personal dream; it was a testament to the power of patience, faith, and purity. She promised herself that she would raise her child with the same values that had carried her through the darkest moments of her life. With each passing day, Chinenyenwa's excitement deepened. As her belly began to round, she started preparing for the arrival of her child. She gathered fabrics to sew baby clothes, created a small crib with Nana's help, and even began learning from the other mothers in the village about the art of childbirth and nurturing a child. But amidst the preparation, doubt occasionally resurfaced, though less frequently. There were moments when she wondered if the pregnancy would go full term. She would pray, offering her anxieties to the chi, reminding herself that the same God who had given her this child would see it through to the end. One afternoon, as she walked to the village square, Mama Chioma called out to her. "Do not fear, child. The chi has chosen you. You will not be disappointed." These words, spoken with a certainty that seemed to pierce the air, filled Chinenyenwa with peace. The day Chinenyenwa had longed for finally arrived. After months of anticipation, her labor began in the quiet of the night. Nana rushed to her side, and with the help of the village midwife, the couple prepared for the arrival of their child. The labor was long and painful, but Chinenyenwa remained calm, her thoughts focused on the promises of her chi. Throughout the process, her mind traveled back to the nights of prayer, the sacrifices, and the moments of doubt. Now, she could feel the weight of her faith paying off. As the first cries of her child echoed in the room, Chinenyenwa collapsed in relief and joy. She held her baby close, tears of gratitude streaming down her face. Her journey had come full circle. The baby, a healthy boy, was named Chidima, meaning God is good. As she gazed down at her son, Chinenyenwa felt a profound connection to the divine. This child, this precious gift, was the embodiment of everything she had prayed for. She thought back to the many times she had doubted, but now, in this moment, she understood that the waiting had not been in vain. Nana stood beside her, his arms around both mother and child. "Our faith has borne fruit," he whispered. And indeed, it had. Chinenyenwa now knew the full meaning of her name: God gives children. She was living proof of that promise, and her heart swelled with gratitude for the miracle that had unfolded in her life. Chinenyenwa's heart was filled with joy, but there was a quiet moment when she realized that the birth of her son had also healed her in ways she hadn't expected. The long years of self-doubt, the anguish over her health, and the fear of never becoming a mother had all dissolved in an instant. She was not just a woman with a child, she was a woman renewed, empowered, and whole. Naneften watched her with admiration as she moved through the house, caring for Chidima. He saw the transformation that had taken place in her, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. She had embraced her journey, the good and the painful, and had emerged stronger. As Chidima grew, Chinenyenwa poured all the love and wisdom she had accumulated into him. She would sit with him by the fire and tell him stories of her own childhood, stories of struggle, faith, and perseverance. She wanted him to understand that life wasn't always easy, but faith could move mountains. Her wisdom was not just for Chidima but for the entire village. Soon, other women who had struggled with infertility came to her for advice. Chinenyenwa became a symbol of hope, a living testament to the power of belief. She never turned anyone away, always sharing the lessons she had learned. In her quiet, unassuming way, she had become a beacon of strength for others who faced similar challenges. Through her example, the village saw that God indeed gives children, and that faith could bring forth blessings in abundance.